There's other stuff.
Excuse me, I need.
So you have to really listen to Richard today. Sorry.
Only one microphone.
Only one
today.
speaker.
One speaker, excuse me. The early bird deadline for our conference is July the 15th. If you pay by that deadline, you can save up to 25%. We have a few, if you want to exhibit, we have a few spots left for the conference. August the 9th, we'll be having a seminar in Dalton, Georgia. And August 14th, the next meeting next month will be in Gainesville at Loft at Scott's downtown. Encourage any of you that haven't renewed yet this year to go ahead and renew. And so far on our, if you get 5 new members to join, get next year free membership, we have no takers. So we need some help with membership. Thank you, and Michael Morrison is going to introduce the speaker. Thanks for coming.
Hello everyone, I'm Michael Morrison. I'm one of the board members, and I have the pleasure today to introduce our guest speaker, Lonnie Bickford. I'm going to read a little insert for Lonnie. As an owner of self-storage for over 20 years and doing live auctions himself the whole time, it didn't take long to see the benefits of using the internet to promote his auctions. Getting thousands of viewers, hundreds of clicks through the details of a unit, and more bidders are going to equal more money for a good unit sale. Please welcome the speaker, Lonnie Bickford, president of StorageAuctions.com. I just saw him.
Restroom.
I guess we'll introduce one of our commercial speakers. Olivia?
Yeah.
Sure. Disclosure, this is not Lonnie.
There you go. I'm going to just shut this off because I can usually speak loud enough. I have 4 kids, and is there a button to shut this off? Perfect. You just tell me, raise your hand if you cannot hear me, and I will speak a little bit louder, but usually everybody can hear me. So Olivia Austin with SiteLink. Wanted to talk to you real quick today about using technology to reach more customers. So as you're using your technology, I want you to think about your future customer. What is happening down the road? Right now, the baby boomer generation and what we sort of call the silent generation, the generation above the baby boomers, we're going to start declining. The Gen X's and the millennials have overcome the baby boomer generation in the rental area now, as of today. So your market has already, with your baby boomers, started going down. Your Gen X and your millennials are taking over. So the next people coming up the pike in the next 5 years are going to be your 20-somethings. So you really need to start thinking about how are we going to work with this generation. And that generation is your technology generation. Lonnie, you just can't speak anymore. I took your spot.
Oh, I was sick. I am sick.
That generation wants to use text messaging. Okay, they want to do things fast. They are used to instant gratification. So they use text messaging. They use their phone. They are going to be using every bit of technology to get things done quickly and fast, and they don't want to talk to anybody. Okay, so this electronic signature is going to be huge going forward. When we look at the next slide, the experience age. Using phones and using tablets, that converged, and that has now overtaken people using a desktop for internet usage. So there is more usage done via a phone or a tablet than from a desktop. according to Google's 2017 Q4 findings, there is 51% of all searches occur on mobile. 63% of all ad impressions are on mobile. And 70% of all clicks are on mobile. These are all showing year-over-year growths anywhere from 10 to 30%. Huge. So if you're not getting out on the internet, you're missing a good market. That's where people are going. Your phone is your computer in your pocket. Everybody carries it. Look around this room right now. 50% of the eyes are down on their phone. People are they're just used to it. That's how they work. That's what they do. You think a website is not effective? I just showed you the statistics. Okay? Mobile devices. I'm sorry, I was told, I thought I had 15 minutes and I was told I have 5, so I'm really going to fly through this. Remote operation. Quickly solve your problems. Phones, tablets, you need to allow your customer to do business the way they want to do business, not the way you want to do business. Okay, you need to start moving forward as you're heading into these years. 2 perspectives. First perspective, your customer. They want to do things quickly, fast. They want to go to the internet. They want to rent it. They want to pay for it. They want to have it done. And they move to their next task. You as an owner can now use your phone to see if your facility has, you could move somebody in. You can transfer a unit. You can take a payment. You can move them out. You could do that from your boat while you're fishing. That's what these web-based softwares are providing you, is that flexibility. Be found where your customers are looking. They're going to the internet. I'm telling you, that's where they're looking. They pick up their phone, Siri, show me storage in my area. We all know they're not doing Yellow Book anymore. We all know that a lot of them aren't picking up the phone. They're picking up a telephone to call you. They're picking up their cell phone and they're looking mobile. They want it, they want to look, and they want to see it. Then they may give you a phone call or they'll book it. So make sure that you go out and claim your free business listings. Google, Bing, Yelp, they're free. It's a one-line thing. Tie your website to it. It's going to help in your rankings. So you need to go ahead and do those things. Online rentals. Stores offering online rentals. So the first line that I'm showing here is that in 2009, stores that were offering the online rentals, where they would take a payment, but it's just a reservation. Okay, so it started taking off in about 2009. The bottom line, the second line, represents stores that added the ability to complete the full reservation. Now, where you see that huge uptake there in 2016 was when e-sign was added in. So now they could go ahead and do the full lease, and they could make their payment, they could get their unit number, they could get their codes, and they don't even have to go to the facility. So that really made a change into the market. Online and emailed leases. Remove the barriers. Make it easier for your customers. If you offer them an easy path to rent, you can increase your conversions. Very simply. Your efficient electronic signature should have pre-populated lease fields. It should integrate into your document. Your lease should be a part of your software. It should not be an attachment. It should not be a JPEG. It shouldn't be an attachment. It should go right into your software program, because then it's all encrypted. So when you're taking those driver's license numbers or those credit card numbers, you want all that data protected. So if it's part of your overall software package, you'll be able to have it protected. You should have the ability to add initials, multi-signatures, have different leases. What if we have boats on site? What if we have cars? What if we have outside storage versus climate control? We want different leases. You should have the ability to offer that quickly. Having all of that data there will allow you to move in the process and make it faster, but it also allows you to have some really good audit tools, because all of that data is captured. The key to converting more online rentals is having an effective e-file management system. It allows you to make sure your e-sign's included with your workflow management. It should all be part of the system. So you look at an e-file management system here. I want to talk about electronic signature. It's not going away, guys. Electronic signature is here to stay. 1.6 million electronic documents using SiteLink eSign. 1 million of them were in 2017 alone. Could be leases, it could be letters, it could be forms, it could be insurance forms, okay? It can be a mixture of things. By December of 2017, about 1.3 million leases alone were sent within SiteLink and had a completion rate of 86%. So why is that significant? When you need to send a lease to somebody and you email it, they can open it up right then and there, they can sign it, they can complete it. They don't even have to do anything else. They don't have to push send, they don't have to print it, they don't have to come back to your store. As soon as they put that last initial, that last signature, it comes right back to you. That's making it much more efficient. Then your manager is on top of it at that point. You don't have to worry about my printer was out of paper. I had to take my kid to the ball game. Now I have to get back on the other side of town. Well, by the time all that happens, they pull into your competitor down the street. eSign is going to help you close those better. By January of 2018, 34% of all stores using SiteLink Web had implemented eSign. So as you're implementing these things, you want to automate your collections, collect more, work less. Have a payment link in with your late notices. Text messaging, automate the sending of notices. Make sure when you send a text, you put the link. You want to funnel these people down to what you want them to do. What do you want them to do? Pay you. Where do you want them to pay you? Go to my website. So you need to put your website on that text message. Big discussions in the industry, one-way, two-way text messaging. SiteLink supports them both. I personally think, what do you want them to do? You want them to pay you. Do you want them to go into a diatribe of text messaging with your manager? That's a waste of their time. Okay, you've heard all the excuses. You know it. You don't need to know that her cat got run over, the bunny had rabbits, they had to take Susie to camp, and oh my gosh, Grandma got pregnant again. You don't care, right? You just want them to go to your website and make the payment. If they have a problem, they'll call you. Doesn't it work that way? If they have a problem, they're going to call you, or you're going to end up sending a late notice and you're going to be in communication with them. Make sure you give them the tools and you tell them what you want them to do. Text messaging will reduce your delinquencies by 25%. Proven, 25%. Have you ever had somebody come in and ask you to remove the late fee? How many people have had somebody come in and say, can you remove the late fee? Okay. Sure, I'll remove your late fee. Sign up for auto bill. Great way to get somebody on auto bill. I'll remove your late fee. Just give me your credit card. We'll sign you up for auto bill. And you know what? We won't have to have this discussion again. So, little tip. Automating your collections, text messaging. The popularity from 2014 to 2017, it grew from 1 million texts to 7 million. That's a lot of texts. It works. It's cheap. I mean, your dentist does it. Your doctor does it. Your banks do it. Why wouldn't it work for storage? People like it. They don't think it's a problem. They love the reminder. They'd rather get that. So they're happy to use this. It is the customer's preferred communication method. Average customer sends 72 messages a day. Now, I'm not sure I send 72 messages a day, but depending on what you're doing and with business and with regular communication at home and family, maybe. But text messaging is definitely the way of, and preferred method of communication. The CRM module, SiteLink, you know, and all softwares, I'm obviously work for SiteLink, but all softwares have a lot of these features. Our CRM module, I call it Austin Powers, Mini-Me, the little mini-me. You need a little mini-me to help you do all of these things so you don't forget. That's what that customer relationship module does. You can do timed and triggered events. You can schedule reminders. You can use different modes of communication, print, email, text, expiration notices for your credit cards, for your insurance. All of these things will pop up and tell you what you need to do, or it will be sent automatically to the customer. So the CRM is a great tool. You just need to take a few minutes to implement and set it up. Once you've got it set up, it works for you. So use that little mini-me. Exit surveys, move-in surveys, keeping your name in front of the customer. So you can't stick your head in the sand. This is happening, it's moving around you, technology is moving forward. You need to make sure, looking at these statistics, mobile usage, everything has changed from the phone and tablet. It's now surpassed your desktop. That's how people want to communicate. Move-ins from your website. Move-ins from website have overcome your drive-in move-ins. There is a statistic, I didn't have it in this slide presentation, there's a statistic that showed now the drive-bys are a lower move-in rate than your website. So things are, again, moving forward with that technology. More people communicating via text messaging than even a phone. So I ask you, will you be ready? Are you going to be ready to get that next customer? That younger customer, that generation that's moving in, and are you going to be ready to communicate the way they want? Thanks, guys. Olivia Austin.
Thank you, Olivia. We're going to try this one more time. Do not move. All right, Lonnie, you missed your whole introduction. But it was pretty good. So, yeah, Lonnie's been doing this for 20 years plus. He's an auctioneer, and he's going to speak to you guys how to do online auctions. Please welcome Lonnie.
Thank you. Thank you, GASSA. When you do that, you find the Georgia Social Security Office if you type it in just right. You do that in every state. It's always fun. Finding out where the meeting's at, and I thought this was when Ann and I were going to do a questionnaire panel on lien laws, and about 5 or 6 days ago I found out she's going to be at the beach this week, so we're going to talk about online auction. And it was set up perfectly by Olivia talking about all the technology that's moving online. She mentioned everything that people do online except auctions. I've been a storage owner for 22 years, not an auctioneer. I went to auction school for kicks and giggles before I started this company, just because I was tired of getting 20 bucks for my unit. So I thought if you learn how to talk fast and maybe wear a cowboy hat, you might get more money. I got a really big head, so it takes a 10-gallon or 12-gallon hat to fit it. But the talking fast thing, if you want to go to YouTube, you can learn it in 2 weeks, because I'm from Louisiana. We don't really talk real fast, but the whole $100 bit I now do and a half, 3, 3 1/4, and a half. It takes about 2 weeks to learn how to do that. But lien sales, you know, for all of us guys, nobody wants to sell a tenant stuff. We want a tenant to pay for their stuff. But when they quit paying, they're not a tenant anymore. They're trespassing the way I look at them. The bank makes me pay for that unit. The parish and counties make me pay sales tax, or not sales tax, thank God. Ohio has to pay sales tax. But property tax, electricity, insurance, all that's paid whether the tenant's paying you or not. So when we were having to do live auctions, and it's as hot as it is out there in Louisiana, we don't have snow days, you couldn't get the bidders to come unless you had 4, 5, 6 units. Well, as we've gotten better with collections, text being a big part of that for those who hadn't tried that, I happen to use CiteLink at my 5 stores, and we text to collect, and it really does work. I'll say that. But I don't want to wait to have an auction just to make my bidders happy to have 5 or 6 units for them, because we all know storage wars is fun. For some people in the industry, they liked it. I was actually at the Las Vegas trade show, I guess 7 or 8 years ago, 7 years ago, I guess, when it came out. And I thought a room was going to break out in a fight with a bunch of old men in gray suits. I mean, there were people who were so opposed that the public getting to see this part of our industry. But A&E's enjoyed the run on the TV show or History Channel, whichever one it is. And I know for all of us, for a little while, we had a lot more bidders and made more money. But it's a whole lot of chaos. And that's part of, as an owner, I was a test member of the Louisiana Self-Storage Association to do online auctions. I didn't think it would work. I told the guys at Storage Battles 5 years ago that it was nuts and no one would ever buy junk online. I'm not a prophet, so. But we used to have to get a crowd, we used to have a lot of units. Well, when a crowd comes, pickup trucks and trailers, it comes, pass the slide. Okay. It comes with a lot of other things that we don't always want. But with online, we can have an auction with just 1 unit. And if it's a good unit, you're going to have a whole lot of people looking at it. Depending on who your company you partner with on your own line, they all market different. We use a whole lot of social media to market things. I'm an old guy, never put a picture on Facebook, still don't really get it, but that doesn't matter. The people who buy junk sell it on Facebook. A lot of people in the room probably think Craigslist is the place to buy and sell used things. It's not. It's Facebook Marketplace, Facebook Buy, Sell, Trade. So when you get something that's like this, and this was a Crawford, Georgia facility, that some kind of auto mechanic tool thing, you can just start pushing this on the right places in social media, putting it in the right places on the internet, and drive views up to crazy numbers. Whether there's tools in all them boxes, I would say no, but some bidders thought there was. And I know for the store, they were glad that it wasn't just Bubba and Joe who worked out a deal in the parking lot. Don't bid against me, and let's split it. If it's $20, we'll both come out ahead. Live auctioneers, they do have followers. It's entertaining. She's got her cowboy hat on. There's a lot of ladies that actually do storage auctions. I don't know what goes on right here in Georgia, in Atlanta, but there's one in New Orleans that she still does a lot of storage auctions. They have followers. My problem was the owner, they still didn't want to come unless it was 5 or 6 or 7 units. And we all know, like the TV show shows all these wonderful treasures in these units. It's not always that way. But with the internet, there's tons of places that you can drive bidders from. This is some of the places that we use. Of course, Google, people go looking for a way to find an auction. They put in the search bar. Auction Zip is a big one. Go to Auction is something that auctioneers use. Some of these sites you have to be an auctioneer to be able to post on their site. Some of it stores can do an individual posting. But with the liability of a crowd on property, I didn't want that anymore. My insurance provider is right now is requesting that her stores go totally away from this because of slip and fall. And then Donna has a friend in Kentucky, sold a unit, the bidder pulled the door down, put their own lock on it, turned, fell, sued for $239,000 to the store. They tripped over their own feet.
Well, I mean, obviously it was the store owner's responsibility for his fees.
It's just like when the lady moved out of my store last year and sued me 13 months later because her couch had mold on it. My insurance provider told me to pay it. That's a different talk I do. Liabilities of live auctions. I think, John, were you talking about your bathrooms, or who was telling me about their bathrooms? Jerry Bowden, U-Haul, MCP, was talking about I won't go into that story. It was bad things that happened on your property sometimes on auction day. And of course, I think this was right after Storage Wars come out, run into an auction on 14th Street down here.
Wow.
That's in Bangladesh, I believe.
Looks like Bear Parkway.
So, all over the state of Georgia, there's people going online. If you hadn't tried it yet, guys, it's the bidders can be in more than one place at one time. They have time to research items. Victory drives down to Savannah. They were pretty skeptical. They were like me. They didn't think it was going to ever work. Well, they're real happy what goes on. But what we're trying to show here is some view counts. 451 views on that unit. You don't want 451 pickup trucks on property. I don't care how big your property is, even the 20 acres that my friend's developing in the back, you still don't want 400 pickup trucks and trailers with the spit cups and all the other things they bring on property. This talk, we're talking a little bit about auction theory, a little bit about best practices in there. Take a few minutes to learn what your competitor down the street, if he's got 17 locations, I'll tell you, don't book your auction on the third Tuesday of the month, because Miss Hat Lady, who's at the beach right now underneath her hat, is going to flood the market with a lot of her units. So do a different day. You know, CubeSmart's really prone to go all on the same day. So if they're bringing 15 facilities with 2 or 3 units each, the bidders can only buy so much stuff. I mean, it's the internet when we're doing online. There's only so many people that are actually going to buy a 10 by 20 that's completely full. Not every auction bidder is going to buy furniture. Not every guy buys tools. But you want to give them a chance to where the guy that likes that type of unit the most gets an opportunity to bid on that unit. So if you're, I think, I forget your brand, y'all bought a store that had like 70 delinquent units or something.
Yep.
I said, we can't do that all in a day. He's like, I want to get them out of there. Well, you do, but you also want to get paid. So let's break that up into a couple different days, maybe a Tuesday one week, a Thursday the next week. If you're buying a store that's got a mess on their books, if the old owner didn't clean it up, it's a payday for you. And I don't know what y'all ended up on that one. I got one I'll be closing on this month, and I'll probably get $4,000 or $5,000 because he didn't have an auction. And trust me, if you don't pay my storage rent when you're my tenant, I will sell your stuff. Days of the week, this is not eBay. Saturday and Sunday is not the day to do it. God, we study our numbers. We study lots and lots of numbers that prove to not matter. And there's numbers that matter. Monday through Friday, all those days are good. Monday before 9, I'd say even before 10. The bidders were at the flea market all weekend. They got junk to unload. They're just not active. And we watch Monday morning auctions, and you just don't see that last minute flurry on a Monday that you do pretty much any other day. I still wouldn't do them at 8 o'clock in the morning. I would do them at 9 or a little bit after that. And then throughout the day, the majority of the guys that buy these units, this is a big part of their job. Some of them is their full-time job. They're not doing this at 8 o'clock at night. It's your store. You can have an auction whenever you want to. You can have it on Sunday night. Extra Space in Brooklyn and Queens was running on Saturday night at 10 o'clock. We were monitoring their auctions to see, hey, is this a good time to have auctions? Well, it's not. If you're in New York on Saturday night, you're watching Saturday Night Live or something because you're not bidding, and you would see none of their units get a run on it. And I met with their COO, and I said, do you even know that you do that? He said, we don't have auctions on Saturday night. I said, you do every Saturday night in different stores, Brooklyn's, Queens. Timing matters. Make yourself some extra money. Do it during the weekday to business hours. Schedule your auctions regularly. You've heard me before. You don't listen to nothing else I say. Have an auction every month. You can always cancel it if they pay. But if you schedule that auction ahead of time, we're gonna have it, March 17th and April 21st. Know ahead of time when it is. Your manager's gonna collect more effectively. It's a drop dead date. It's not like, hey, if you don't pay your bill, we're gonna put you in auction next time. No, there's a date, and now, Mr. Tenant, you're in it. And it just, in my portfolio, when we shifted to a monthly auction schedule, we sell 1/3 less units now than we did 4 years ago when we were doing it the other way. They pay their bill. They're not 2 months late because we're waiting to build a crowd. They're not 3 months late. They're a month and a half late when we start hammering them with a letter. Online, live auction, do it yourself. Talk fast with the cowboy hat, don't matter. Schedule your auctions regularly. We will help you make some money. Pictures. I was in Tennessee last November. They pushed it, they showed us. They do that in December because the hurricane rained out our September one or something. And I was talking about taking pictures because you're selling something on the internet. So we all used to hold the camera this way and take pictures. Well, now we all take pictures this way because we use our phone. Software prefers a horizontal landscape picture. It's just all photo software assumes you're actually using a camera. Take your picture sideways. I was saying this, and there was a girl sitting on the front row, and I said, then take some good pictures, and don't just take one. And she goes, yeah, it's like on Match.com. And then she kind of stopped, and she sat there, and she turned red. She's like, right here. And I'm looking at her like, I can't believe you just said it. She goes, I helped my friend set her page up. Okay. Don't know what's up with the fish lip thing. I'm a married man, but evidently it works for you girls. There's a lot of that on TV, on the dating sites, and my millennial team had fun looking for pictures. I think it's been way too long. We found this old boy, and he's just like, hey, this is who I am. I'm gonna roll with it. So you're selling something. Hold your phone sideways. Take at least, we asked for 7 pictures. Had a guy in Missouri the other day gave me 64 pictures of a unit.
Wow.
The tenant owed him a ton of money. It was a 10 by, or maybe a 12 by 25. The guy knew he couldn't pay the rent, so he actually signed the unit over to him. We got $3,300. It was full of great stuff. It had lawn equipment on a big trailer and all kind of other stuff. I'm like, couldn't you told your buddies, like, hey, give me $1,000, I'll give you what's in this unit and pay your rent. The guy took 64 pictures. We don't care. You put as many as you want up. If you got good stuff in there, show the stuff. But take your pictures. Take at least 7, and the manager is going to roll that door open and say, there's the picture. You can see everything. Well, no, you can't. Get a picture showing side to side, top to bottom, getting the builder an idea that, wow, this thing's full, but it's real easy to get to 7. That was 1, this is 5, then you start taking pictures of individual things, and it can, it can run up to 9 or 10 without it really being hard. So when a manager gets 2 or 3 pictures, we see it over and over and over and over. Those units go for less money. The bidders just can't see everything in there, so they can, they just don't bid as much. A little bit more on theory. And this is something like we worked with Cliff when he had all those units. The bidders, the most auction online sites are going to put a 5-minute gap between each unit, giving the bidders time to bid, get ready for the next unit. I think all the sites now have what's called a soft close, to where eBay goes 5, 4, 3, 2. When you bid the last second, you can snipe that thing on eBay for an extra quarter. We want whoever wants to win the unit. I love that phrase that they use on TV. If you want to win the unit, we'll let you win it. You just got to pay the most. It's a fun kind of competition for us owners. So there's a soft close, so when the clock goes down on under 3 minutes and you bid, it brings it back. It goes into overtime, it brings it back 2 to 3 minutes. So if they're down to 1 second left and they bid, it goes back into overtime. So there's a 5-minute gap between those units. So if you got 10 units and you're asking your bidding audience to sit there and watch your auction, you got 50 minutes you're taking of their life. if they can see all the units. So if unit number 1's your best one, and unit number 2's your second best one, number 3's third best one, the rest goes downhill, they're gonna probably drift away when it gets down to that jump. If you kind of spread it out, if you got 2 or 3 units, it don't matter. But if you got a store you're taking over, property you just bought or hadn't had an auction in a long time, and you got a bunch of units, if you kind of spread the good units through that, it keeps that bidding audience locked in a little bit longer.
Might pay for your lunch.
That's not gonna keep their attention. Kind of going over a little bit of what we just talked about. Just, if you're gonna have live auction, it really is gonna help to have more than just 1 or 2 units. With online, you can have it as few. I will say this, if you got 1 unit, and I don't know a Bodunk town in Georgia's name to call, we've had auctions in most of them. I think we do more auctions in Georgia than anybody. But if you're trying this, if you got stores in other states, and that town has never had an auction, and you just have 1 unit, and it'll just like jump, don't expect this to change your world and you get rich on this thing. It's not gonna happen. But once you've established that you're online, your bidders know to go there, the storage auctions companies, bidders know that you're there, you can have auctions with 1. USG does it every month. They'll have 1 or 2 units at a store, and it doesn't affect the bids at all. View counts, when they have good stuff, it's just gonna go higher. This is Dublin. When we first went to Dublin, those guys here today? Curry Reynolds, he's like, I don't think this is gonna work in Dublin, Georgia. I said, well, I don't know if it will or not, but we can try. And he had a unit that had a washer and dryer, nice washer and dryer, and an old upright piano. So we got on social media and we had a post that said, like the washer and dryer, but no idea how much can you get for an upright piano. Well, everybody likes to be a know-it-all, and then the know-it-all started answering, and it became a thread on Facebook that had 20-something replies. Oh, I sold 2 last year. You make good money on those, or you can't give them things away. And then we're arguing, we didn't care, we just wanted people to look. And somebody said, well, I want a piano and a washer and dryer. And the bids on that unit, when it got legs on social media, it probably tripled, and that was in his first auctions, and he's been a pretty big fan of online since then. Guys, 20 years of doing this, I had auctions this week. I wasn't at none of my stores. If you hadn't tried this yet, it's kind of like texting to collect and some of these other things. The e-signatures, a lot of us are hard to change the way we do operate our stores. We've been doing it this long, and if you own a storage facility, it's a pretty valuable piece of real estate. If you own more than 1 or 2 of them, you're like, my God, I made a lot of money doing this. I don't need anybody to tell me how to do it. Well, there's always a new best practice. There's guys that are out there that are driving, new ideas, new technology. Some of it sticks, some of it, doesn't. I was the last person who thought this was going to work, and it worked so good for me. I went and bought a company called storageauctions.com, and it's working really, really good for thousands of my customers right now. There's usually questions about lien laws. Of course, you guys have Scott Zucker that I think talks about it about every other month for you guys, so maybe not as crazy a bunch of questions as we get other places, but anybody have questions on online auctions or how they work? Or
How much does it cost?
each company's a little bit different, but for the most part, they take on the bidder's final bid, there's a deposit taken. We do 10%, so the treasurer does 10% of that price. So it's a $100 bid. We take a 10% deposit, getting that bidder connected, and got skin in the game on that unit. He brings you to $90, and the auction's done. If the auction cancels, the tenant comes in and pays late fees and rents, auction fees, all the other fees you associate with it. You cancel the auction, typically you pay the auction company $20, or I think that's where most of them are at right now, because they were out there marketing it, not knowing if the tenant was going to pay or not. So the bidders pay a premium most of the time. Some of them have memberships and subscriptions. They buy but typically there's a 10% premium above the bid, and that's between the company and the bidder. And then for the stores, it's 10% of the bid. I don't think, there's a couple of them that are offering, you have to pay to be part of their platform, but there's others that you don't have to pay. And there's one company, they're not from America, that will give you 100% of the bids. They do it for free. They're gonna be like Facebook one day, when everybody's addicted to them, then they'll charge you something one day. That's not working real good for them, but if you don't wanna pay somebody, you can find a free auction out there if you want to. Yes, sir. I thought you raised your hand, Mr. Full Basement. For the unmanned stores, I have quite a few of those that are starting to come on board. You gotta set some special terms and rules. That's something that a lot of people ask is, what's the terms? What's your store's your rules? We'll tell you the best practice that most people are doing is a 72-hour clean out of the unit, giving the bidders 72 hours. Almost everyone's cash only. Some people want credit card over the phone. Your store, you want to swap chicken and eggs, we don't care. We're going to hit their card for a deposit after that. You can set the rules. Most people, it's cash only, no use of the dumpster privilege, and you got 3 days to get it out. Mr. Schofield?
If I may, you didn't put me up to this, but we just signed on 11 stores last month. We had our second auction. Unbeknownst to your advice, we did it on Monday anyway. But even doing so, you didn't hear this, we tripled our return as we did the previous year for last month, not this month. I haven't got the totals yet for Monday, because we're still processing everything. But I can tell you right now, 11 stores, when it disrupts, the biggest thing for us is it disrupts operations every time you do it. You have a set amount of people that come, bring all the trailers to your properties, all y'all know what I'm talking about. It just disrupts sales of the regular clientele. This way it's just nonchalant. They come in the regular line with the rest of the regular customers on you move things and the truck, trailers, boxes, all that good stuff. And it's so less abrasive to the everyday operations doing it that way. So, and again, we set the rules. He doesn't set the rules, which is the beautiful part about it. And as long as you're doing your advertisements, everything legally like the state requires and all that good stuff, it's night and day. If you want to look into it. We tried 3 other sites that offer the same thing for 3 months before we, went with this gentleman here. But again, do your homework, but we are totally satisfied. At least this guy is. I'm trying to get all my other guys involved to do this, and I did all the homework on it, and they did. So I'm trying to get them to sign up with me as well. It's just that great. Just throw that out there.
Yeah, well, the same for me. I mean, when I tried it, I couldn't believe my first unit I sold for $830. It was on what's now a competitor site, and a guy from Texas drove to Louisiana to get the unit. I called him and said, "Do you realize I don't ship this? You have to come get it." He's like, "Yeah, I know." I said, "You got to pay me cash." I know. You got to come today because I didn't give him 24 hours. I know. I said, "Have you ever done this before?" I mean, I thought the guy was nuts. I said, he's watched the show and he's gonna come, he's gonna see this, he's gonna drive off. He showed up a box truck and started loading it up. He said, "I'm gonna make a killing on it." It was a super nice unit, furniture wrapped in plastic. I mean, it was way better than the average unit. But he drove from Texas to Baton Rouge.
Parts of Texas aren't that far from Baton Rouge. Where in
It
Texas?
was 3 hours.
Well, that's not long.
If you live in Texas, you drive 2 hours to drink coffee. But
That's right.
I'll say this, I bought 1 unit in Atlanta, Georgia, off my website in Smyrna. My wife thinks I'm completely lost my mind. When I got $4,000 worth of commercial kitchen stuff for $600 because the manager didn't take good pictures. And I knew with that stainless steel box in the corner was a commercial vacuum sealer. And I hunt and fish a lot. I can seal my redfish and my ducks up and it looks like they come out of a meat market now. That's what this machine came from. But what I couldn't see that you couldn't tell was behind all them tables, they had 525 boxes. Well, we're the #1 U-Haul retailer in the state by far. We just got all them white Sherman and James boxes, some meat market here in town. We put them 10 for $10. And I burned through that $500 so quick, you didn't bat your eye. The bidders will, if it's good stuff, they'll come from a long way. And there's a guy in Tennessee, I don't get it. He'll look and make a loop. And he's left Tennessee, come through Georgia, ended up in Miami with 20-something foot box trucks and gone back to Tennessee with 10 units. I don't know, I'm just glad he does it. He outbids the local guys. That's all I care about, is getting some of my money back. And there's been a lot of discussion about recovery rates. I'm a storage owner, and I get real frustrated with that discussion because the recovery rate has 100% to do with two things. You can't have 100% of two, but you can. What's in the unit, because if it's just junk, it's just junk. If they picked through a 10 by 20 and left the top half of a plastic Christmas tree, I can't help that your manager waited an extra month. Now they owe you 3 months instead of 2 months rent because you didn't cut the lock-in time. But your company rule says you have to sell any unit that has anything left in it. I do a lot of auctions. Literally, there was a sheet in one the other day, and they put it on my website. Like, can you take this stuff down? They said, our lawyers want us to sell everything. Well, nobody's going to buy it. But the recovery rate is a function of what's in the unit, and then how long do you wait before you let him go, and then how much that unit rents for him. Is it a 5 by 10 with a few boxes of stuff that you get $60 a month? Or is it a Climate 10 by 20 that's $300 a month? So what I say when you measure online companies, look at view counts, look at what they're doing on their bids. It's a public thing. I can't promise you anything that you can't go on the website and see. It's right there to compare. Some companies, when they leave their core area, they really struggle when they move into a new area. The guys that were free from Canada, they came to Virginia and got a 55-store portfolio. We just watched it. And the average bid after a few months was $26. I just went and pulled up our pictures to compare. You can shop this stuff. You know, there's a little bit difference in pricing, not much, but there's a lot of difference in performance and customer service. So check them out. There's several companies out there. Yes, sir?
What are the repercussions? People bid, they don't show up. How often does that happen, and what happens?
It definitely happens. There's two things that happen. We define them as very distinct deals. One is you got a bidder and their credit card fails. That happens. It's hard to say a percentage, because a lot of times when it fails, it's a real bidder that's done bought 6 units that day, and he ran out of money on his card, so it failed on some of them. But then he goes, because a lot of them use prepaid cards. They're junkmen. They're living off the grid. They're selling stuff for cash. They don't, bank the same way that the store owner typically does. That card fail, when we started seeing that we had access to that fail in 15 minutes, and we start a curing process literally 20 minutes after the clock starts. If it fails, we collect on that a high majority of the time. When the card goes through, in my world, it's 97% of the time. If we got their deposit, they're going to get it. They've given me $20, they're going to bring you the rest, and they're going to get their stuff. If it didn't work, I couldn't keep coming around here and talking about this stuff. I mean, it's just working for the industry. Yes, sir.
Would it ever go to a second bidder
Yeah.
as live auctions?
Yeah. We go to backup bidders, and you've had a public auction. Scott addresses this a lot here in Georgia and everywhere he speaks, is once you've had the 3 unrelated viewers, it's considered a public auction. If bidder number 1, just like if on a live auction, he goes in his wallet, he's like, I bought 2 units, but I only got 100, can I go to the ATM? And your manager says, no. If number 2's right there and she offers them, she can do that legally. You've had the auction, you've established a value. And right now, we have a way, we track our bidders' bidding activity with a point system. They earn points in our company. So when you have a public auction and bidder number 1 fails, we can put your zip code in and do a 70-mile search around your city, and we see a guy that's like one of our top guys, and they love buying now. But hey, guy walked out at 200, you want it? Here's the pictures, and they just jump on it. And they like, and next time you get one of them, can you call me? Because they feel like they're kind of getting a special deal. It's going for what you went for. And we just have tremendous result with our special way that we treat those guys. And we're turning on a reward point system like Delta has for frequent flyers for our bidders. And we're going to be turning that on. And it's been built in the system since we launched. We're turning it on hopefully by the end of this month. And it gives the bidders some connection to the site. And they also can get penalized if they no-show. And then they can get rewarded if they help us cure a no-show. We'll give you 100 points if you go by there today. They need that 10 by 20 by Saturday morning. You got to clean out Friday. Okay. And for points, I mean, my gosh, Delta makes me jump through hoops to get my points. Anyways, yes, sir.
How's the uploading of photos process on your side?
Well, we weren't the first to market. So we were able to look at what everybody else did. We were able to look at how Amazon plays from Amazon hosts more pictures than anybody in the world, and that's who we use to host our pictures. So we worked with some development that was going on 2 years ago that was a new generation of Zoom and a different way to upload. One of my competitors, you got to put one picture at a time on their site. You know, ours, we just drop a whole file, click and drag of all 6, 7, 10 pictures of the unit, 64 pictures of the unit. Probably would have to split 64 pictures up into more than one drag, but I didn't do that one. But it's real simple. Most storage managers are not the most tech savvy people in the world, so we had to build it to where they were comfortable. And then of course our customer service, I mean, we've got Grandpa with the flip phone and held his hand. We say plug the phone in, and he plugged it into the wall. We said, no, plug it into your tower. What tower? You know, and my customer service millennials were like, he don't know what a tower is. I'm like, well, explain to him. And what we eventually did is he got his granddaughter to come over, and she did everything for him the next day. She's like, it's just like Facebook, Papa. And that was good too. It's pretty easy. Questions? Anybody anywhere, all in and all done? One more. Yes, sir. $300.
What kind of cybersecurity do you have on your online bidding?
Well, the bidding is all done with password. You know, there's a password to have an account. You have to have a credit card. We use Authorize .net to handle our credit cards. They're the largest provider on the internet. So far, I don't think anybody's had a problem trying to hack. I say that. We had 60,000 hack attempts a week when we came out to the industry. I don't know what that was about. It lasted for about 8 weeks, but we have quite extensive firewalls. I'd hate to think it was my competitor, but it started a week after Vegas. I don't know. Coincidence. Anything else? Anybody, anywhere, selling right here, boys. All right, y'all can go home. Got to get y'all started today. Who's next? Are you leaving or you coming to get the mic? I think I'm supposed to be coming. All right.
I want to thank Lonnie for coming out and talking to us today. My name's Calvin Bird. I'm on the board. Thank y'all for coming. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Remember, we have our next meeting is August 9th. And
August 9th, Dalton.
August 9th in Dalton and August 14th in Gainesville, Georgia. Thank y'all for coming. If you've not already signed up to be a member, sign up, come see one of us. And remember, if you get 5 new ones, you get next year's free. And y'all have a good rest of the summer. Thank y'all.
That's why you put it on the side. Keep your freedom yourself. No, you have to pay $250 to be a member. I gotta get 5 of those to get my $2. You get yours free.
Probably not.
I did introduce one person. I did one person to come and join, but I didn't do it.
Love to see you. Probably see it at the next one, I'm sure. Yeah, kind of forced.
Good to meet you. Good talking. Do you run back? You get any belts yet?
We just started digging again today.
Just started digging?
Yeah, well, we had it going, and then we ran into some rock, and we ran into some issues with our towboats and stuff.
Who'd you bring with you?
It's my oldest, Marlon.
Marlon, good to meet you. Well, you're just taking turns. I brought my son with me this time too, Kevin.
Good to meet you, Kevin.
He'd never been to one of these things before. So this your first meeting?
Yes, sir.
All right. How old are you?
19.
All right. Good deal. Kevin too. We should have sat y'all together. You could have talked while we were boring you with our what we're doing.
Anything new and exciting for you? You still liking it?
Yeah. I bought. Did I tell you about buying the one in Eaton?